Amber here at Great Collegiate. I appreciate you taking a little time with us today. And you've had since we last talked last week, you got a win over Ben Lippen here very convincingly. And then you went up to the upstate to Nation Ford and played in a very competitive invitational. And I know that you didn't win as many matches as you would like. I know the kids got a lot of experience against really good competition. And then you're back in action a little bit later today, Tuesday. You play at Hammond. So just kind of update me on how things have been since we talked last week.
Absolutely. We did really well against Ben Lippen. That was a great match for us. They have some really strong players on that team. I've coached some of those kids through club ball, and it was good to see them and how they're getting better. But our kids did really well. I got a chance to play some kids who don't always get to play. And some of my freshmen, like Ireland Dale, did a great job, was able to play 6 rotations in that game, along with Kaylin Evans, who's another freshman, and new to Great Collegiate, also did a great job as a middle for me during that match. We went to Nation Ford, and like you said, didn't quite live up to the expectations I was hoping and had set for the team, but we had gotten some good experience, and we had an off weekend, and it was bound to happen at some point, and it was just not a great weekend for it to happen to us. We know what we need to work on, though, and so we're working on that, and we're looking forward to play Hammond tonight.
Number 2 ranked in 2A right now. I know that earlier you were actually ranked number 1, so you're right there at the top. And this week's Player of the Week, by the way, Sierra Punska Jr., had a very good tournament, I know. So if you would, just talk a little bit about her, talk a little bit about how the team is handling being ranked number 2 or number 1 in the state the last few weeks. Is that something that they are unaffected by, or?
Well, we were really excited about it. I think they haven't really been that involved in looking at that in the past, and so we last week when we were looking at film and doing film review, kind of shared with them the information that was on Max Preps and showed them that's how that works. I want them to start being more involved in that and looking to see what our upcoming opponents are like before I present that information. And they were real excited to see that and to see their names. And I said, well, we need to live up to it now. It's still really early. Obviously, a lot of teams haven't put in their information or haven't had a lot of games yet. But that's a place we'd like to stay. So just kind of going through that, Sierra Punska this week was named one of my 3 captains. We have 3 captains for our varsity team. They're all 3 juniors. Sierra Punska, Allison Hare, also a junior, and Nia Reed, who was the Player of the Week last week, also a junior. And that's a really good dynamic. They're all very different, excuse me, very different in their leadership styles. One's more of a quiet leader, but leads through example. Another one is the one I can go and say, hey, get on your team, and she's happy to do that. And, and the 2 of them are Allison Hare and Sierra are my setters. And you want them to be the quarterbacks of the team and the leaders anyway. So that has worked out well. Sierra had a good weekend, even though we struggled in tournament play. She stayed most consistent and received the All-Tournament Player Award that she was nominated by the other coaches.
Oh, great. As far as that ranking and being number 2, you're pretty familiar with being a club coach and all that with the talent around the area. You feel that's a pretty solid ranking? You feel like that's about where you guys should be right now?
I definitely expect us to stay in the top 5, even early on as we're playing some of these bigger 3A and 4A schools. On Thursday, we'll play Brooklyn Casey and Dreer, a 3A and 4A school respectively, and I expect to stay very high in 2A.
As far as playing those teams, obviously the better competition you play in any sport, the more it's going to make players develop and get better. So I imagine that's kind of the philosophy in scheduling some of these bigger teams.
Exactly. That's the rationale there. I want to be able to build confidence with some of the teams I've booked, but also we need to get better, and we need to have that competition ready so that when we're at state playoff time, we're not struggling through that at that moment, facing that harder competition.
All right, again tonight at Hammond, and then coming up on Thursday, a tri-meet over at Dreer High School with the Blue Devils and Brooklyn Casey. Thanks as always, and we'll look forward to catching up with you next week.
Great.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.